Welcome up. Welcome
Blah.
back, people. Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Ha!
Welcome back,
Easy for
people,
you to
to
say.
the Mindful CEO. I'm Chris Angell. We're here with Aaron Hendon. Hi, Aaron.
What is happening, baby?
Yes.
Yes.
We were just talking about you've been doing these guided meditations on, or is that what you call it?
Yeah. So
Mindfulness.
yeah. It's a gosh, I don't know what it's called. Like, there's probably
Yeah.
some term that
Mhm.
people are going to go, oh, it's not that, it's this.
Mhm.
I call it a practice.
Yeah.
And I like calling it a practice specifically because and I've been thinking a lot about this in terms of, we've got a group now, just a private
Facebook group.
Facebook page for anyone who's interested, and where those practices go live, and then they're there for people that can't make the 7:40 to 7:50 time slot work. They pick it up during the day and they just watch it and sit, and it's a 10-minute practice of a guided practice of gratitude, specifically around gratitude. So it's not even just mindfulness, it's practice. It's a practice.
Yeah.
It's gratitude. It's a directed kind of mindful, because there's mindfulness in the broader definition isn't connected to gratitude, other than gratitude being one of the principal tenets of mindfulness, but it's not the only tenet. Mindfulness is really more defined as bringing non-judgmental awareness to life.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about being mindful, and I think that's the really important thing. One of the things I really have discovered in the practice, and both leading it and practicing myself, is it's not meditating. It doesn't require, there's something different about meditating. I mean, first of all, there's no mantra. There's, you are you're either connecting to your breath, bringing mindfulness, awareness, non-judgmental awareness to your breath, or there's, as a focused awareness, focus on anything. Breath is particularly simple to attach to. And then there's open awareness, where you're just bringing awareness to the sounds and the smells and the sensations of what's happening. So, and I don't know how to distinguish it particularly from meditation, except for the opportunity of bringing mindfulness is available in any moment.
Sure. Whereas meditation, you might think, is a designated time on a calendar. That is, I am doing meditation right now.
Yes.
Versus mindfulness can happen anytime.
Right. As opposed to, and why I like practice as the moniker for it is because you're practicing being mindful.
Yeah.
You're practicing bringing awareness now. And you're developing the neuronal pathways in the brain and creating the pathways in the brain to be in the present moment, to be aware of what's happening in the present moment. And that practice is, like all practice, necessary for mastery. There's just human beings don't live in the present moment by default.
Yeah.
We just don't. We're constantly worried about the future, embarrassed about what we said last night. That's the brain is designed, right? And but it's not, while it may be designed that way by default, the beauty of the human construct is that it's available to be in the present. And so going back to where I wanted to go was, so we've got this Facebook group where the practices get posted, but really it's the only piece of being a mindful CEO that we've begun to explore.
Right.
Is the practice. We haven't taught, we don't have a lot of other conversations in that community yet about what it looks like to be a mindful CEO. What is it? What does that mean? What are the practices involved? That
Right.
next guest is going to talk about that. Alan talked about that. But to expand it into acting in the world,
Right.
what it looks like, how it shapes your behavior, your operating, the way you operate, is I just think it's critical,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're just meditating. Yeah, I don't like just meditating, because it it diminishes meditating.
You're just meditating.
Yeah, no, I
Something
take that.
bigger.
Yeah, I take that back.
No, I got it though. I got it because uh, some of the magic, I think, you and I have been in a conversation in a different community about spiral dynamics and some of the stuff about, which, by the way, is just a study of or a body of work around different levels of awareness. Awareness. It is about, some people say consciousness, but it is a particular level of awareness. And then you expand your awareness, which gives you more insights, which has you relate to the world differently. And that is really all that body of work is talking about. But that is distinct from your general awareness, like your mindfulness about the world you live in is different than, say, meditation. I'm now
Mhm.
meditating and I'm doing something to connect with I think of meditation as, I'm going to focus on my breathing and I'm going to connect to some source or energy or whatever. But it's not I'm out interpreting and interacting with my world always in a meditative state. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
mindfulness is a little bit more flexible as it relates
Mhm.
to how you interact with your world. But
Yeah.
not better than, just more broader, maybe broader than meditation.
Yeah. Good. And more. I mean, I think there's so many ways they're so close to each other that it's not worth splitting hairs. Okay,
Sure.
about the exact word. I'm totally satisfied with collapsing mission, vision, calling, true north. I don't want to argue about
Yeah. Yeah.
right when we talk about those things.
Yep.
Whatever floats your boat. So I think there's a whatever floats your boat about this. That's fine.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the daily practice, that 10 minutes we were talking, like you've started it but haven't
Yeah.
kept it uh as rigorous. I don't know, how would you say it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how my mom, I had to fly to Portland and hang out with my mom, who had a health scare, and I've been here for over a week, and my whole routine and rhythm of life is different in this moment, and it's
Mhm.
um, and so I have not done those 10 minutes. I've not participated in those, and I can see, I can feel the absence of, a practice.
Mhm.
um it's, in some ways, it's thrown off, not the absence of that particular practice, but I started strong with some meal plan and some stuff I've been working on for my health, and then I noticed just my willpower was um waning throughout the week, because I was so tossed by
Mhm.
this interruption of my normal pattern, rhythm of life.
Yeah.
I could see how uh, 10 minutes a day would get, no matter where I was, 10 minutes of mindfulness would give me some sort of foundation or home base to operate from, no matter
Mhm.
where I was. And I just haven't done that. But
Yeah. Yeah. I love, that's what I particularly love about is that it's a practice that can be done anywhere, even in someplace noisy and distracting.
sure, right.
There's an opportunity to just be aware, sit quietly in the present and be aware of all the sounds, and bring your
Yeah.
awareness, what's an open awareness practice of seeing what's there. And at the same time, you're practicing slowing down.
Right. Yeah.
You're practicing not reacting.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the kind of upset and the kind of world and the kind of situation that you're actually dealing with, you know, your family and that scenario, reacting as natural as you get, you know, as automatic as you get, you know, that's
Yeah.
as automatic of a thing that you could do as there is to do, is to react
Yeah. Right.
in that situation. And you know, I think there are certainly situations in which our reactions are valuable, but for the most part, our reactions are not as productive
Right. Yeah.
as a thoughtful action.
Yeah. Right. What have you noticed as you've been doing those guided mindfulness
Yeah.
practices?
Well, what I've noticed from leading it is that
Yeah.
it's completely distinct from my own practice.
Hmm.
That leading them requires an attention to providing the space for an intention to get delivered.
Yeah. Right.
Is very different than just simply sitting and bringing mindfulness to life. And that was surprising. I thought I could just sort of do my own practice and speak.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And guide someone else. But they're not the same. Those are actually distinct phenomena, practicing and leading a practice. Or
did you find that your own practice, not the leading of it, started before you led, or leading gave you impetus to start doing your own practice?
No, I was doing my own practice
Separately.
Yeah, separately.
Uh-huh.
And then, I mean, first of all, part of the certification is, you know, 40 hours.
Right.
And I just sort of got committed that, all right, well, if I'm going to lead this, I should get through I want to get through the suck, I think is how we talked about it. Right. You know, the part that you're bad at something is always in the beginning. Like, you're bad at something until you're good at something. I wanted to get through the bad at something.
Yeah.
You know, shorter in a earlier time, you know, less calendar day. So what I've noticed from leading it, I'll go back to what I noticed on my practice in a minute, but what I've noticed from leading it is I can trust myself to lead it. I've gotten coaching from my teachers on leading specifically and what that provides. And it's both fun and enlivening, and then the discipline, the practice, the everydayness of it, the opportunity to show up every day at the same time and to do something is in and of itself, I don't know, transformational event is the right word for that, but there's something powerful about a reliable practice.
Sure.
And it's interesting. So this is just, again, I think this goes back to the meta picture of mindful CEO is, we talk about this all the time, but I'm more likely to keep my word if there's other people counting on it.
Right. Yep. That's true for me.
Right. That I show up every day at 7:40 and do this practice because I said I would do it. And I don't do my practice. I've missed like 2 days in the last 3 months. Maybe I've missed 3 days in the last 3 months, but I missed 3 days in the last 3 months, which I don't miss on the ones I'm leading because there's other people involved. I can break my word to myself.
Right.
If there's other people counting on it, I don't. And so that's part of the value of a community. And, I get on those Facebook lives and sometimes there's no one there, and I'm just doing it. And it's interesting because I'm just doing it and I'm not getting the value I would get in my practice. I'm not just videotaping myself practice,
Right,
right?
right, right.
I'm actually leading it. So, and I didn't know that was going to be the case. I thought, well, I'm doing 10 minutes a day anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, this isn't my practice. This is their practice. And they're different
Right, right.
phenomena. It'd be different if I was just listening to someone else's practice and doing that live.
Hmm.
Uh,
Do you, do you
which
have a same time that you do your own personal practice, or
no,
do you do that different times
I
in the
do it
day?
different times. So for my own practice,
Hmm.
couple of things I've noticed is I I don't have a regular time. Some days I go to the gym, some days I don't. I work out 3 days a week, and I base that on what the CrossFit schedule is. And I don't like burpees, so I don't go on days when there's burpees.
Skip the burpee days.
I
Uh-huh.
honestly just okay. There it is. I don't do rope climbs and I don't do burpees. Okay,
Uh-huh.
if I can avoid it, and I do avoid it. So I don't know what days I'm going to go, and then I get back from the gym, and I don't always have time to shower, change, get ready, and be on the call at 7:40. So then I'm into my day, and when am I going to do my practice? And then that becomes a question: is when I'm going to do my practice. But I've missed very few days. I think I've missed 3 days because it's so flexible, and because 10 minutes. I mean, it's 10 minutes. It's not like it's some big thing.
Right.
And that was the most amazing. I would think the first biggest opening, the first biggest breakthrough, the first biggest aha I got from practicing was like, holy shit, 10 minutes a day makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I've really been in the world of it's got to be a 30 to 60-minute meditation, right? Even when I was doing TM, it was 20 minutes, right? I was did
Yeah.
transcendental meditation for years,
Right.
and that was 20 minutes twice a day
Mm-hmm.
as a practice. And that took a lot of discipline on my,
Yeah.
I had the experience of it taking a ton of discipline to get 2 20-minute blocks during the day. I'm sure there are people that have practiced for years where it's just pattern at this point, and it doesn't
Sure.
take that kind of discipline. It's, but I never got to that point. I mean, I did it for a couple of years, but it never became
Yeah.
that simple. But the 10 minutes once a day, can I find 10 minutes? If I can't find 10 minutes once a day, then I just feel like I'm just being too lazy. It's just like, it doesn't take all that much discipline. And it's that, even 7 to 10 minutes is a practice. And
What about 6 minutes though? Six
no,
six to
six
ten
you're out.
minutes.
6 you're out. No, no, can't do it. 7,
uh,
it's got to be this tall to ride. I'm sorry. I don't
yeah.
make the rules. No, I mean,
You can have.
like it's just, in fact, you probably could do it with 2 minutes. You
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
could do it with just 3 mindful breaths.
Well, I wanted to ask you what you noticed about, because part of the conversation we've had in past episodes is mindfulness can be an all the time thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be sitting
Right.
still and watching your breath. It's mindfulness is bringing that to that
Yes.
awareness to your life.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what is your experience of having a dedicated 10 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes for mindfulness versus being mindful as you're living your life? What's the
Yeah.
benefit or the experience?
Well, the benefit is, first of all, it's practicing the thing that I'm interested in having in every area of my life.
Yeah.
So like it, and we started with this, but like anything, you don't get anything new without practicing it.
Yeah.
No one gets anything new without practicing it. Like you don't get good at anything new without practicing it. So then the experience of having practiced it, and for this certification, I'm logging my hours, and I think I'm up to like 18 hours or something. And it's taken me 2 months, 3 months to get 18 hours in 10-minute chunks, 10, 20, sometimes 20-minute chunks. And that's, I can catch myself. I got this great phrasing from some feedback I got yesterday, but at the end of the morning meditations, I give people I extend an invitation for people to catch themselves during the day 2 or 3 times and experience gratitude. Just breathe in some gratitude. Just see if you can catch yourself 2 or 3 times just in the experience of gratitude.
Yeah.
And I don't know what trigger you can use to get that, but 2 or 3 times, get yourself. And this woman gave me this idea of catching your breath, and which I think is a beautiful image. Because you talk about catching your breath. Like if I went to see the Seahawks on Sunday, which was a disaster, but we walked up nosebleeds and up the steps and sat down. I had to catch my breath. But there's that pause where I'm like, okay, I'm out of breath. I have to sit for a minute and catch my breath. And as an image, as a metaphor for, going through your day, going through my day, task to task to task to task, it doesn't occur like, okay, I need to sit down for a minute and catch my breath.
Right.
And there's an opportunity to sit for a minute at any point, go, okay, I'm now been on automatic.
Yeah.
All day. I got to catch my breath. And that means, and really in the mindfulness practice of catching your breath, of sitting for a moment and catching your breath, like noticing the breath in and then the breath out.
Yeah.
And bringing some awareness to life. And, the morning practices that I've been doing on the Facebook page have all been guided towards gratitude. And just because if you're going to cultivate an attitude or an orientation to life, hard to beat gratitude. I mean, I'm coming at it from the law of attraction side of things. Where, the gratitude is the ultimate state of attraction. Being thankful for what you have in the present moment sends the vibration of that you are, the universe sends you more of that. So find something to be grateful for. Find something where you can vibrate along with that space of gratitude. So catch your breath 2 or 3 times a day and do that. And I have found through the practice, it's a very long answer to your question, but not surprising. The daily practice has given me the opportunity to pause and slow down and catch my breath, where that was it was a good idea.
Yeah.
I liked it. I could see the value of it. I would talk to people about it. I would I'm a fan. But in practice, didn't do it. And the practice of doing it every day for a few minutes has begun to shape the way my brain works, the way I work, the way I operate, and has shown up on the court in action as, okay, I can sit and take 3 breaths here.
Yeah.
And have the experience of gratitude be present.
So it's interesting. I wonder then about the fruit of that. Like in the past, you could talk about it, you were a fan of it, but you didn't do it, and then life occurred the way life occurred. I'm curious now, as you've been doing this practice, you're 18 hours into whatever, like have you noticed fruit of this practice in everyday life? Like you're in a transaction for real estate, or you're showing a house, or you're talking to your family. Like, are you noticing, because I have this practice, here's some fruit of it? Do you notice any of that?
Yeah, well, yes. And, I think there's a caution of attaching fruit to something.
Sure.
As
I'm asking because I'd
I
like to
got, no, I
funnel
get it. I just
hack
want to
how
make
you
sure
do
that,
it.
yeah,
Really
yeah,
like to
no, I
funnel
have,
hack your mindfulness.
yeah, no, I'm just saying that there's always that, that non-striving
Of
aspect of
course.
meditate
Yeah.
of practice. That's like, okay, you can't go for the fruit. The fruit's going to be there and you get the fruit. But if
Yep.
you're doing this to get the fruit, we are not going to,
Exactly.
right? So there's
Yeah.
that beautiful thing. But the fruit for sure is, I'm, um, in my conversations with clients, first of all, I can, and I do take a few minutes before I go in and meet clients, before a listing appointment, and just get myself present in my body. Because normally where I am is this, I'm going to fuck this up. This is going to be terrible. I'm so nervous. What am I going to do? All the
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can just breathe, right? And walk in present. And so that has been great. I can't say, yes, I've gotten 3 more clients because I was doing that. I don't,
Right.
I don't have that direct correlation.
Yeah.
But I also don't not have that direct correlation. It's not
Sure.
like I'm sitting here starving in a market with 50% less listings. My
Yeah.
business is
Good point.
tracked. So I
Mm.
can't say that it's not connected.
Yeah.
Um, and I find myself, on one hand, the fruit really is that I sit in gratitude every day,
Mm. Mm.
that I'm connected to that which I'm grateful for every day. And that's a fruit. I don't know what more fruit that, if you go, Esther Hicks,
Yep.
the conversation there is, you want anything you want in your life, you want because you think it'll make you feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that so stop trying to narrow down what you get and start just going for what feels good,
Yeah.
or that it feels good. And that's what you want, is things in life that feel good. Everything you want, you think it's going to make you feel good. You want money, you want security, you want happiness, you want a partner, you want a divorce, you want anything you want because you think that thing is going to make you feel good. So,
Mm. Mm.
which is the whole mechanism by which gratitude then trigger, that's the by sitting in gratitude, you're sending the message to the universe that those things that you're grateful for are more of what you want. You're
Mm.
sitting and feeling good because there's nothing,
Yeah.
gratitude and feeling good are this. That's what you're grateful for, is what you feel good about. I mean,
Yeah.
really, anything you're going to name that you're grateful for is something that makes you feel good. So I get to sit and I catch myself sitting in what feels good,
Mm.
right? And I can also detach myself from the stuff that feels bad with
Yeah.
more ease,
Yeah.
and
It's good. Yeah.
so uh, I didn't actually do this, but I could have, and I'm now going to, because I'm still upset, is, I don't always notice that, I can detach myself from the upset.
Mm.
But this is so fucking stupid. Okay. Makes me so upset that this is how I am about this. But the way the Seahawks game went, and then on Sunday, and then the way the Mariners played last night, and the way my Mets have played is just upsetting. Okay. It's upsetting. I'm a grown man. I have kids. I have a wife. I have a family. I have bills to pay. And I am upset about the way some freaking millionaires have performed in a game that the whole thing is so unbelievably dumb from
Yeah.
an intellectual standpoint. And yet
Mm.
the experience of being upset is
Mm.
real. Okay.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, there you go. Right. So, and the same is true of my business. Okay. So if I take it out of the context of something stupid,
Yeah.
and it's not any more stupid than my business, right? Frankly, it's really, none of it's stupid. It's all what makes me feel good, and it's all created, and it's,
Yeah.
but I do know that being a grown man being upset about sports is stupid. But when I get upset about my business, sometimes, anytime I get upset about my business, or this deal or that person or this person, or that team didn't, the Seahawks played like shit, I can catch my breath.
Mm, mm.
And I've done that about my business. I just noticed in this conversation, I haven't yet done it about the Seahawks.
Mm.
I'm still wallowing in last night's Mariners game. It's too upsetting to even touch. But there's that opportunity to sit back and notice, what is there to be grateful for in this situation?
Yeah. It's good.
What is it
Yeah.
that's just, even in that question, and that's certainly easier in situations that are around my business or the Seahawks than it is in some family tragedy.
Yeah.
Okay. And yet, it's, we've, I don't know about you, but my parents died 2-3 years ago. And, after the grief, after the immediate shock of the grief of not having those people to talk, it's not even I don't have them to talk to, because I do have them to talk to, and it's not even that I don't have
Sure.
them to talk to me, they talk to me. But the passing of the mortal coil, as they say,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
one worthy of grief. And at the same time, the grief is consistent with the level at which I was grateful for I've had them. We only grieve as deeply as we're grateful for what had happened, because we're grieving the loss of that which we're really grateful for.
Mm.
So those things come up on a on a scale, right? There's one end
Yeah.
to the other, and it's not one end is better than the other, but to be in the presence of they're connected,
Mm.
and that you can slide from the loss into and stand in the gratitude for the experience, which
Yeah.
gives you the length of the loss, the depth of the loss,
Yeah.
right? And you could
It's good.
stand in the gratitude and still experience the loss, but stand in the gratitude is a really powerful thing. And I think, and I know that my
Yeah.
practice has enabled that.
Mm. Mm. I think a lot of people, I think it's common for people in pain or loss or some feeling that doesn't feel good to react to that, to run to something that feels good. I don't like this, so I'm going to run to something else. Um, and I think, worlds are built that way, kingdoms are built that way, governments are ruled and governed that way. There's a, I don't like this, so I'm going to run to that. And your point about being able to find some gratitude or be mindful in a moment that has grief or loss or pain, and in such a way that you can reframe that moment, that you can have a presence of mind to make a decision that would be consistent with your true north, rather than a decision that is simply to alleviate the pain of the loss, the discomfort of whatever. I mean, talk about changing the world. If people operated from that place, it would be a drastically different experience we'd be having, I think,
Yeah.
collectively.
I so appreciate your contextualizing and putting it together that way.
Hmm.
And that is that when we talk about, so I think to, put a point on this.
Yeah.
The opportunity of those practices every morning for anyone listening who wants to join the Facebook group and get access to those practices. Although you could practice mindfulness, plenty of brilliant mindfulness instructors on YouTube and Insight Timer and wherever. But the point of practicing that is to develop that muscle of bringing mindfulness to your, whatever you're the CEO of your life. That's the purpose. It's not, it is the practice of living mindfully It's the practice that gives you access to living mindfully.
Yeah.
And I've been delighted that 10 minutes a day has made the difference it has. Now, I don't know. It could easily be that an hour a day accelerates it, or it could be an hour a day is unnecessary and doesn't make I have no idea. I haven't,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are, but that's what the whole point of Vipassana retreats and other opportunities to take yourself into seclusion or just extended periods of mindfulness, develop different practices. And I don't have any direct experience of those yet.
Yeah.
But I can tell you 10 minutes a day over an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And provide something that's completely worthwhile inside your being empowered to be the CEO of your life.
Wow. That's a mic drop right there.
There you go. Boom.
I just pictured,
Motherfucker.
the Grateful Dead, which I still have not listened to, but how you described them going on a riff and like seeing where it goes and then being able to somehow pull it back and finish off the song. Like you just finished off that whole riff we just did for 20-30 minutes. You brought that back and tied it off with a bow. That was amazing.
There you go.
It's masterful.
Well, that's what we do here. That's how we do it.
That's how we do it. That's right. And if you guys all want to listen in next time when we riff and tie it off with a bow, come back next week and we'll have another episode.
We'll see how it goes.
Well, yeah. Those of you that are interested in learning more about the Mindful CEO community, you can go to themindfulceo.com/invite. There's an application button there. And those that want to join the free Facebook group, go to Facebook and search the Mindful CEO, and you'll see our logo and our ourselves there. Join. It's free to join. And Aaron's doing right now, he's doing those daily 10-minute guided gratitudes and mindfulness practices. So there it is. Awesome, Aaron. Thank you.
Peace.
See you next time. Peace.